Hey, welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for coming. We got a great one lined up for you today. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. It's been an eventful morning up to this point. Power went out about 45 minutes ago and just came on 10 minutes ago, so I'm trying to get everything squared away. I'll turn it over to the staff. The beautiful Betty Van Velsen. How's it going, Betty?
Yeah, great. I'm doing great.
Well,
Thanks.
that's great. Thanks for taking over.
Oh, I wasn't going to start on the weather this time.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with the weather. The power went out. It seems that the infrastructure is still a little fragile from the insult it took a few weeks ago. It's understandable, but I still don't like the power going out right before the show goes on. One of my pet peeves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So can you introduce...
See that you have a lot of dependence on other people as well.
Yeah. Can you do me a favor? Can you introduce the rest of the staff here?
Do I need to
introduce that? I'd appreciate that.
Okay. Well, we got here the lovely Adam Meakin.
Good evening, everyone. I was worried there. I was getting overly psyched, Betty, to be accused of being underwhelming from rules with you.
We got, of course, Nathan Oakley. He is Ace. There he is.
How you doing? Good to be here. Good to be back after a vacation.
Well, vacation.
That's right. It was a vacation. That's correct. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that's it for now, and maybe some other people will drop in, and we got a couple of people just listening in, like Nico Cosentino and someone called Deacon Frost. I don't know. Maybe we can let them talk later. But I think you have a program for us. So, what's on the table now?
What's on the table?
Black Swan.
Black Swan's not on the table. We're frying and fricasseing ball tarts.
Oh, so you're not eating the thing?
Heck no.
Okay. Oh, I thought I made a nice bridge to you getting on with the what we're here for. Instead of the weather.
I need a longer bridge.
Longer bridge. Oh, that's Nathan's thing. He knows how to bridge things.
Now
It's argument's 6 months old now. Did you know?
Yes, it had a birthday about a week ago. Yep.
Is it still only officially a signet then?
A signet?
Only a baby swan. He's 6 months old.
Okay, now I'm running into a problem. Why?
What now?
We can discuss this over on my channel. We have all ornithology debate quite often.
Something's not seeming to work here, but that's all right. We're still going. Hold on. Keep going. Give me a couple minutes here, folks.
All right.
I
do you
like
guys-
to air in these moments, actually. Can we have a moment's silence for the globe? Well, let's beef it up then, because the argument that's going to precede this terrible bit of the show with lots of dead air and my kids screaming in the background is going to be the single best globe demolishing argument you've ever heard. If you've not heard it before, this ended the globe. This killed the model. This killed all of it. Heliocentrism died with the Black Swan. This 6-month-old argument is the best there is. Just to preface the presentation that's coming up.
Yeah.
Build-up.
What a great build-up. Thanks, guys. Boy, I got it working, too. Somebody smiling down on me for some reason, because I just fell into that one.
I was just saying how excellent this argument is, and 6 months down the line, not that we ever suspected it wouldn't stand the test of time, but it really has stood the test of time. Most of the people on the opposing side haven't even understood the argument yet. That was also expected.
No, they still don't understand the argument. I could say that collectively, safely, that I've been running it. It's unbelievable to me. It's not unbelievable because I predicted it, but it's so simple, yet it seems unreachable for the Baltards. We're going to go over it again today. I'm going to go over it very slowly. Might have another little twist at the end. I'll give Nathan a bone and he can run with it, but I'll let you know. That was a late addition. It happened right before the power outage. So we'll see if we can't touch on it in the end after we talk about Booby. It's connected to Booby, Al-Biruni. Remember him? Yeah, we're going to get to that here at the end. It's going to be fun. So,
are we waiting?
So Betty, how's the
Yeah.
weather?
Well, it's a little cloudy here and therefore a little bit dark. I would like to have the sun a little bit more, but it seems to be a dry season here.
It's
So
cloudy.
we need rain.
It's cloudy and dark. Are the midget golf courses open?
Nah, due to Corona, I don't think so because you're too close together, with the midgets. Yeah.
Adam Meekin,
Midgets
sir.
need less distance.
There we go. He even butted in right before I got to him. Adam Meekin, sir, how's the weather there in England?
Crap. Miserable, old. Because summer's here, isn't it? So sun ran off.
Is summer here in England?
June, isn't it? So clouds have arrived.
So where at? Now you don't have to tell us exactly where you are, but where are you? North, south, east, west, southeast, southwest?
In the middle.
You're right in the
Right
middle.
in the middle, Nottingham. Yeah, Nottingham.
Nottingham?
Yep.
This is
Right in
you're
the
close
middle.
to Jan Panda then, huh?
What?
Close to Jan Panda. I think that he lives in Nottingham as well.
Yeah.
Shout out
And Panda
retracted.
lives close to me, that's correct.
Yeah. Have you ever run into him?
Not that I'm aware of.
Didn't
Okay.
I
Robin
think I
Hood?
remember him having been.
Oh, hold on a second. Didn't Robin Hood come from Nottingham?
Did.
You did?
Unless you're Welsh, and then you'll try and claim him. But yeah, right.
So that forest is over there with you. That where Robin Hood was in.
Both Jem Panda and Robin Hood, yeah.
Woohoo!
Okay.
But not Kevin Costner.
yeah. Right.
Oh,
All right.
I like him.
So yeah. Nathan, how's the weather where you are in England?
It's pretty much the same as Adam's. It'll get better. Keep an eye on the moon.
And where are you located? North, south, east, west, center?
I'm right in the centre. I'm in the Midlands, aptly named because they're in the middle, unlike Nottingham.
So we got two claims of middle here, and Nottingham's not in the middle. Rebuttal.
Well, we
I'm
can
in the just
middle.
for clarity, I'm in the Midlands. Be clear.
Technically, I'm in the East Midlands. The furthest city away from water. I'll qualify it like that.
Well, we got Arwin here too, and Arwin in the middle of the Netherlands, I suppose. We could have an argument as well. Who is in the middle? Hi,
Yeah.
Arwin.
Hello. Yeah, from Utrecht. Utrecht.
Yeah, and I'm
Okay.
living 30 kilometers from him, so it's close by.
This is awesome. Hey guys, Hey, you didn't even welcome me back from vacation. What about all you guys out there that are listening, right? Like, how's your vacation been? Where'd you go? What'd you do?
Yeah, what did you
Say
do?
what you
before?
did.
Maybe we just enjoyed the peace and quiet for a while.
Maybe we don't care. That's Arwen's attitude. Yes.
Thanks, Arwen. That's what I was looking for. It's about time somebody with some darn honesty.
Yeah, put you back in your place.
Just for the record, we all have a lot of respect for QE. All of my arguments have come from him. While we rib him, it's actually out of maybe a bit of embarrassment that, we're so dependent on him. There you go.
You speak for your bloody self.
Absolutely. No, as the ballers say, I abide by the QE method.
Really? Did they say that?
Wow.
They like to straw man us with that and try to gaslight and all that, but it basically does come down to that because your rigidity concerning the scientific method has really made a very deep down impact in many ways. And it's just echoing on still to this day that this inacceptance as to the foundations of science, it's really very far and wide. So
That's profound. Oh, well, it wasn't me. It's just a scientific method. I'm just the messenger.
right,
Wrong.
but you were able to deliver that message in a very, I don't know, I guess necessarily polarized way.
Polarized.
It's the quantum eraser method. Just accept it, man. It's a backhanded compliment.
It is.
Yeah. So any new arguments? I know there is one kind of new argument. It's not new against the Black Swan. It's a little different twist on it. We'll get to it. I put it on the list of potential debunks. When I go over it, you'll know it. It's so stupid, but we're gonna have to go over it because it's come up. And another funny one. These people keep on posting pics. They say, well, look at this, QE. In fact, it happened yesterday. And then it happened this morning again. And I'm sitting there, people, have you seen any of the Black Swan presentations? And we'll get to the pic. I'll stop at the pic that I'm talking about. I said, I've had this picture in the presentation, the Black Swan presentation, from the beginning. Every single Black Swan presentation from the beginning has had this pic in it that seems to have debunked the Black Swan. I don't. Do you watch the arguments brought against you like the original videos, Baltards, or do you just hear the arguments from other Baltards and then mindlessly parrot that without watching the actual argument? I'm confused. I don't know out there. I really don't know. You guys are getting scary stupid. Been stupid for a while now, but this is getting scary. I don't know. Am I allowed to say stupid still? Or is that politically incorrect?
Well, that's usually my word, right?
Stupid.
Stupid.
So any arguments before we get into the Black Swan again? Any new arguments, or how would you say shades of new arguments that anyone's heard on the panel thus far? We could start with Adam.
Sorry, John. I was just just one thing. I don't tweet very often anymore. Stuck a black swan as a response to a caller saying, "Why doesn't the sun get smaller with size?" And just he came back with hashtag self-debunk and explain why the further rig is lower than the nearer one. Is quality of a response that I've had. It was attached with the Modus Tollens as well. Opponent, sorry, but I just lost. I think you're right. It's going to take a year for him to grasp it.
Say that one more time, Adam.
So, hashtag self-debunk, right? This is what he's saying. I explain why the further rig is lower than the nearer one. Now, I'm only assuming it means the top of the rig. So, see, I've not even bothered to type perspective yet. Generally, that's the response I got on Twitter. I did ask for him to maybe draw some lines on the picture, demonstrate your point, and that maybe he did draw lines either at the top or the bottom. Yeah, I think it's going to be a long way.
That's
even
not
the concept of
folks. That's not part of the argument.
it wasn't
But the
part
whole
of the
trick
picture.
is not to get to the argument.
I don't know. That doesn't. Oh, brother.
Yeah, I think Armin is right. The whole point is not to get to the arguments, just to stray away and try to divert, right?
Ah,
I heard
so it's
someone say that sort of line that we take for the horizon behind the oil rigs is just a fog bank or something like that.
so it has an air of legitimacy, but it's really not about the argument. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they say just that there is a fog behind it, which can be local, of course.
There's a fog
Oh.
behind it. No. See, what
Yes, the
happens-
answer to your question is yes. So Arwen's pointing out that there's no benefit to them getting to the rebuttal stage of this argument. The obfuscation is all you'll ever see, and Arwen's absolutely right about that. So, yeah, detailing something that's completely devoid of any relevance to the argument, which is about the position of the horizon and their assertion that it's geometric, is completely ignored when you start asking questions about what the platforms are doing. So, yeah, Arwen's right.
Gotcha. Any new ones from you've been spearheading this more or less, Nathan. Anything that you heard, but when I wasn't in the vicinity, any new twists or slants on the story?
No.
That's about.
Well, on the front line, it's all about how far do the ballers dare to go with their chutzpah, their audacity to push the limits of logic itself in order to try to make an argument that's supposedly gonna win. You know, like the Black Swan is a straw man argument, or the modus tollens can be utilized to disprove natural law. You know, they're gonna drive whatever their creative spirits left of them to just try to haphazardly, ham-handedly just move some things together and appearingly try to make an argument. And that's what they're doing. That's what they have been doing.
There was a new one. Came just today. Want to hear it?
Yes.
So, in rebuttal to the claim that we've got two horizons, one that we see and one that we don't, making it a non-horizon, as horizons are an apparent position. The rebuttal to, well, we only have one horizon, was to say that no, if I take a piece of string from my viewing position and give it to a guy on a boat and he drags it out, and the distance that he'd have to drag it out is 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, he will eventually reach the physical geometric horizon with his piece of string. Therefore, this non-visible location is a horizon because I can drag a piece of string to it. That's what we had to say.
That's pretty stupid. So he said you can't see the visible horizon. How can you not be able to see the visible horizon? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, that was, like I say, in response to us pointing out that if you can't see it, it's not visible, it's not a horizon. And then he explained how he can calculate it from his model, which is the same old standard. But like I say, with the exception of this dragging out a piece of string to an arbitrary location that isn't visible, the argument's the same old. They've got a second horizon that isn't visible crap that doesn't really wash and doesn't get them around the problem.
Do they understand that? Yes, there is a geometric horizon in the model, but the geometric horizon isn't in reality. Did they get that part?
Yeah, I said it to him about 15 times.
Yeah, you do have a geometric horizon. It is in your quote unquote model reification fallacy, because you guys don't know what models are. None of you know what scientific models are, right? You just say model, just an equivocation fallacy, right? You think that justifies something. It's more or less a reification fallacy. That's what it is. And you don't have a model anyway. You have an Earth curve calculator. And guess what's on every single Earth curve calculator that you look at? It'll say observer's height, and then it'll give you automatically every single time the distance to the horizon. Guess what horizon that is? The geometric horizon.
I know.
Yeah.
Geometric.
Yeah. It's usually marked with an X on Mick West. Haven't seen old Mick. There's a fever in the funk house now around too much lately, but you can see it in his calculator. It's marked with an X. X marks the spot. Of course, X doesn't mark the spot with reality. Therefore, your reification fallacy, model, is debunked. Do you get it? Sunshine.
Can I add one more thing?
Go ahead.
What gives them, just out of interest, the basis of that position that's marked with an X labelled horizon in their geometric model? Where do they get that from? What value do they apply to give them that in the first place?
The radius?
Yeah.
Oh,
Presuppositions.
dear.
It's all about the presuppositions. Hey, I need to give out the special shout out for the $99.99 super chat donation from Rakia Life. Boom.
Boom! Rocky Arwen. Isn't that somebody else's job?
Yeah, but come on. This couldn't wait.
This couldn't
Job
wait.
of the Dutch.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Dutch.
Arwin, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's absolutely outrageous. Go on, Adam, on your way.
There's only one bit I wanted to just follow on what you were saying, Nathan, really, in terms of but what's apparent is that the point of argument now that who they're arguing with really is themselves from 2-3 years ago. They now frantically try to disprove, and that's the beauty of the Black Swan. It takes their argument, and what we're seeing now is them frantically try to take away all of the certainty that they spoke about with this geometric horizon. This was leading edge of a ball that was obscuring us. Everything argument that we've buttered over the past 2 or 3 years is now what they're doing themselves to twist and subvert it even more. But kind of the
Are you talking about this right here? You see where this green exit? You see where this says horizon, right? You see this?
It's not the edge of my ball anymore.
You see where this tangent goes straight to this X? This is the geometric horizon in your model. Reification fallacy, baltards. This is what we're talking about. This is the geometric horizon. It appears in your quote-unquote model, reification fallacy. But it doesn't appear in reality. And if it doesn't appear in reality, guess what happens to your model? Reification fallacy. Take a wild guess. It implodes! My word. Put that down.
Before you get overexcited, let me shout out then what the super chat said, because there was
Please.
another one.
Already know. Owen ruined it.
Hello, Adam. Rang out loud.
Come on, Betty.
The floor is yours, Betty.
I think I'm resigning.
You can't resign.
I'm resigning.
Come on, Betty. Sorry.
Well, we got one super chat from Flat Earth Travolta. I like it, by the way. They're cranking up their mind games because they have nothing, he says. And the one from Ricky Alive, he says, let's get back to basics. I'm on mood. And Q is stupid.
Hey!
Ricky Alive. So there you go. Just for the insult.
Thanks for the
You get a
insult,
lot.
Dave. Yeah. What is light? Go on mute. Start nesting, for God's sake.
Can I just ask something? Arwen, could you say stupid for us?
Stupid.
Oh, that's contrived.
I'm sticking with Betty. You're not gonna. You've got my
That's how
vote. Betty.
Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory says it. I have to say it like that. Stupid.
All right, folks. Any last comments or questions? We're going to get into it. That's what I thought. Thanks. Mike, discipline, please. We're going to make some stops in here. I don't know where, just when I feel it. How about that? Let's just roll with that. So, the basis of the Black Swan argument is all about the horizon. That's it. So, please, when you speak to the argument, speak to the horizon. Right? It's very simple. Here's 3 definitions right here. From their alma mater wiki, horizon is the apparent line that separates Earth and sky. From Merriam-Webster, horizon, the line where the Earth seems to meet the sky. Apparent, junction of Earth and sky sailing toward the horizon. From Oxford Dictionaries, the line at which the Earth's surface and the sky appear to meet. So, you have to see this. A horizon must be seen to be a horizon. You can't have a non-visible horizon like you can't have an achromatic rainbow. My word. Some more on the horizon from the U.S. Department of Defense horizon. In general, the apparent or visible junction of the Earth and sky, as seen from any specific position, also called the apparent, visible, or local horizon. That's a new term, local horizon. National Geographic has its take on what the local horizon is. What is it? Well, the local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, is the visible boundary between the Earth and sky. So, people, when you say the geometrical horizon is not visible, then you're violating the law of identity, because the geometrical horizon is the visible boundary between the Earth and sky. Any questions? My word. So,
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
What about the horizons that are not visible?
They're not horizons?
But they say the geometrical horizon is not visible.
Yeah, I know. I just said that. And what happens when they do that? What are they guilty of?
Got a question.
Law of identity violation.
Okay.
And a law of non-contradiction violation with it. Go ahead, Adam. You had a question?
How can something appear to merge after it's physically merged?
How can something appear to merge after it physically merges?
Yeah. If there is an actual point of observation where this is their model, what we're being asked to believe is that what we're seeing is it not merging, but then appearing to merge at a later date. It's apparent. It apparently merges. It's the claim, and this is in relation to Arwen's, horizons that aren't there. You can expect to see complete perversion and twisting of reality to allow geometric horizon that we don't see?
You can't have a horizon that you don't see. Good?
Yeah, this is Chocolate's input on the debate almost daily now. So the horizon that we don't see, so it's not a horizon then. A horizon as just defined by you. The visible location where the land and sky appear to meet. Well, appear means seeing it. So not a mathematical aberration of something that exists only in a reification fallacy of a globe model that we then derive this non-visible position that no one can measure and we can't draw tangents to into a visible position that isn't geometric. You know, that cluster screw doesn't leave you with tangent points and geometry. So we only have one horizon. It's not geometric. Simple.
Good? So,
You all.
oh, go ahead.
All right.
No, go ahead.
Just if you scroll back just to that bit, you almost think there's a point when phrase local horizon is up that there's a reality that it is an apparent thing, caused by many things, not just geometry, if we were on a ball, but then ruin it with the second quote, also called. You think there's some honesty in there, there's going to be some description, but once again, even here from National Geographic, having to it back to the ball because fundamentally it has to be the same thing. Want to try and use it in different positions, but fundamentally they do have to recognize the point that there is a geometry at play here if you're on a ball.
Yeah, this works to our advantage, Adam, because when they say, no, that's not what a horizon is, well, yeah, it is. Your rhetoric and all of the texts that go along with it and all the definitions that go along for it are going to toe the same line. That is to say that the horizon in your paradigm, and therefore in all the references, is a geometric physical sphere edge. Now, you're not going to find that National Geographic go against the fact that they claim Earth has a physical sphere edge for a horizon. Therefore, this ground level, trench level nonsense where they say, oh no, with a hand wave, we do not see the geometric horizon. Well, it's defined as the thing that we see. So yeah, you're supposed to. It's just bunking of your model.
Yes, sir. So let's find out, why is it apparent or not actually? Number one is a well-da, because the sky and the sea or ground never actually meet. So it's the apparent position where they meet. And number two, it's based on the observer's height. Simple. Now, this is very important, and I've run into, this is one of the problem areas of the two problem areas I'm going to point out that I've noticed over the past few weeks on vacation, is that a lot of flat earthers aren't getting the argument either. So I'm going to stress this right now. So, what can obstruct or obfuscate or obscure the geometric horizon? Right? There's many things. Weather, atmospheric conditions, waves, tides, many things. This is the really important part. So listen up. I'm going to go over it slowly and I'm going to repeat it. The geometric horizon can never be more than. You see what I did here? I put never be more than, and I highlighted it and underlined it and put stars around it. The reason why I did that is because it's really important. It is the anchor at the base of the argument. So the geometric horizon can never be more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Again, it can be closer than that. That's not a problem. Here's the issue: can never be more than. So don't let people get you off the beaten path and say, oh, well, the horizon moves. Well, okay, I never said it was stationary or fixed. I never made that claim. And so what is the conclusion from that? Well, it's going to move based on many different conditions. However, it can never be more than. You follow? Does everyone follow that? It's rhetorical. I'm not asking for everyone to answer. So don't get confused about that. Don't confuse yourself and say, oh, is the horizon supposed to be fixed and never move? No, I don't know what I'm doing. No, it's going to move based on many different factors. Okay? Hopefully that helps. Like I said, however, on the ball-tarred ball, the geometric horizon, I'm going to stress it again, can be no more than what its geometric constraints allow. Does that make sense? Another rhetorical question. It can never be more than what its geometric constraints allow. That means it can't get fatter. If it's physically constrained to a limit, the Earth doesn't blow up and come down like a balloon. That's what I'm more or less saying. That's the underlying theme here. So it can be no more than what its geometric constraints allow, based on, like we already talked about, the observer's height and the radius. Well, we already know the radius. They've told us that how many times? So there's no take backsies. You got to stick with the radius that Al-Biruni gave you. We're going to get into that circle jerk here in a little bit. So, Andrew Thomas Young, San Diego State University Astronomy Department, the subject matter expert. If h is in meters, that's height. That makes the distance to the geometric horizon 3.57 times kilometers times the square root of the height of the eye in meters, or about 1.23 miles times the square root of the eye height in feet. Now, if you think he cornered the market on simple geometry, let's try Washington State. So, for all practical purposes, we can estimate the distance to the horizon using 1.22459 times the square root of h, or perhaps even more simply as just 1.2 times the square root of h, which gives the distance in miles when h is in feet. That h is your height. All right? This is just basic geometry. You can't debunk this. The death of the ball-tarred spinning space monkey religion. Again. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be, here it is again, must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's the geometric horizon. That's this puppy right here. Everyone follow this. It can be no more than. Now, all the ballers are going to red herring fallacy away from what they're seeing here because the argument is about the horizon and back. That's all this argument is about. These oil platforms are just used to demarcate distance. They have nothing whatsoever to do with the argument. Like I've said many times before. They can have a Chinese Superman on a purple tutu, on a hobbled unicorn, racing around the Sombrero Galaxy, doing cartwheels in motion. I don't care. They can be refracted till the cows come home, what they don't even know anyway. Refraction, we'll get to that. I don't care what's going on with these platforms. They're just here to demarcate distance. That's it. All I'm concerned with is where the horizon is in relationship to these platforms, because we know exactly how far they are away from the observer. So the observer's height in this particular instance, Bo's height, BMLSB 69, shout out. I always put a shout out down in the description box for his contributions, which is enormous, by the way, but I digress. The observer's height here is 1 foot. This is easily discerned from the original video. If you're unsure about that, go back to the original video. Go down to the description box. I have the original video in there. All right, it's not a long video. Go to the 2:15, 2:30 mark, and it's right there for you. He even said in chat, he's talked to me many times, it was below 1 foot. You can tell that by the video evidence. He does it right there in front of everyone. Okay? In this particular still from the video, the distance to the horizon is greater than 9.41 miles. So everyone should see the problem here, because on a spherical world, the distance to the horizon maximum with a radius of 3959 miles is 1.22 miles. That's not even in this photo, folks. It's way back here. It's not, you can't even see it. And whereas the horizon plainly, even if you're legally blind, you can see that the horizon is behind the second platforms at 9.41 miles. We make it easy and just say 10 miles because there is no argument. However, we know it's a lot further than that. But we'll just do 10 miles and leave it right there because the ball dies here. Even if the observer's height here was 5 feet, the maximum distance to the geometric horizon would be 2.73 miles. Right? Even at 5 foot, you got problems. Even at 35 feet, let's say Bo was on a ladder by the beach, by the seashore, and took this observation. Even then, what should it be? The maximum distance to the geometric horizon should be 7.24 miles. That is in between Platform Hill House and Platform Habitat. Even at 35 feet tall, they're still dead. The ball's still dead. I'm just giving you some proportionalities here to kind of bring it into focus on what the situation is. There's no way around this. You can Texas two-step, you can red herring fallacy way, you can come up with your retard arguments, but you're not getting around it. It's not going to happen. Simple elegance. Here's the argument. Listen to it closely. It's a simple modus tollens. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P, then every horizon distance measurement, here it comes, must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's Q. Not Q, because the horizon distance is greater than 9.41 miles in the Black Swan photo. Therefore, not P. The Earth is not a sphere. It's just as simple as that. So stick with the actual argument. Does anyone see the oil platforms in this argument? That's rhetorical, by the way. There are
I know
no...
it's rhetorical, but can I
Yes.
add anyway? Just because I was itching to do it during the presentation,
Go ahead.
but I chose not to. But now you've asked that rhetorical question. So yes, exactly. The argument is about the horizon, the distance to horizon, where the geometric horizon would be based on your sphere Earth geometry. That is the argument. The horizon, what you claim it is, based on being or claim to be on a sphere. That's the argument. And as John's already pointed out, I'm just reiterating, the demarcation points are irrelevant. They're not part of the argument. They give us distance. They're arguing about, as Adam did at the beginning of the show, he detailed how somebody had asked him why one of the platforms was lower. Not relevant to the argument. That's why I'm stressing this here, because it's just been reiterated. It needs stressing because that's what we get asked about all day. What about the cranes? Why are they bending? Who cares? It's not part of the argument. The argument's about your claim of a physical sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve.
Thank you. Yes, it's very important that we stop here and establish that. But of course, later on today, I'm going to hear about the oil platforms. It's just going to happen. It happens every day, right? I entertain it for right now, but there's going to come a point in time where I'm just going to cut you off at the knees. Rightfully so, because you're not paying attention to the argument. So, the ball tart spinning space monkey community, please allow me to introduce to you your Black Plague, the Black Swan. There she is. Isn't she a beaut? Now, as you can see, the observer's height is 1 foot. The max distance to the geometric horizon is 1.22 miles. There is no amount of delusion or make up stories that is going to take the horizon that isn't even in this photo, that is way back here, right? There is no amount of refraction, diffraction, illusion, contusion, anything that you can dream up that would take that horizon at 1.22 miles, push it back over 10 times where it should be, reverse course, and send the light back into my eyes. There's nothing, it's preposterous, ludicrousness, absurdity. We're going to get to that with refraction down below, but just that's what they're telling you, folks. If you're on the fence out there, this is the first time you're seeing it, that's what the baltards are telling you. When they say refraction, what they're saying is that this line right here, it's actually out of this photo. It comes way before, and then it's pushed back behind these oil platforms, and then this light that's coming from behind here, it's a contrast. The contrast is stopping in its tracks, burning its bra, and then saying, I'm not going straight out. I got to come back to the observer's eyes, and I'm going to give that for you to see. It's a preposterous ludicrousness, absurdity. It doesn't do it justice. Are you feeling me, sunshine? If that isn't good enough for you, this one, because all of a sudden, it's not repeatable. It's a Black Swan. I need to only show one. That's it. One Black Swan destroys your all swans are white. Just one time. Here's the second one for you. Observer's height, 8 feet. Max distance to the geometric horizon, 3.46 miles. Where's 3.46 miles here? It might be in here. Right? Where's the actual horizon here? Way, way back. Right? Death knell. It's over. Game over. Questions, comments up to this point?
Yeah, so we only have one horizon. And as soon as they assert refraction, then it's no longer geometric. And they require one. You've only got one horizon. Yours is geometric. Say it's refracted. It's no longer geometric. Game over.
Adam,
A little bit, John.
Yep, go ahead.
We're getting on to Uncle Bobby later, aren't we?
Did you say Bubby?
Yeah, Bobby, yeah.
It's Bubby.
He's later on, isn't he?
Yeah, it is. Yes, sir.
Maybe just a little bit, because just in terms of the image of your statement in terms of the oil platforms, they're just markers, and it is true. Certainly for the purposes of the Black Swan, it's all they're needed for. And if the ballers ever did want to get into further analysis of that picture, you can look at relative drop. You know, when we've looked at farms and the likes, and you talk about the relative distance and the relative drops and how that changes as a geometric function you're on a ball. The relative, even though there's only 3 miles between the two, relative amount of curvature that would be expressed if you're on a ball between 6 and the 9 isn't 3. It's the relative difference between the two, so it's accumulated. So again, that's not displayed in the picture. There's a million things you wanted to get into it. Me, the key, whenever you're discussing Black Swan, to not allow them to get into that, because that gives them so much bullshit obfuscation. Stick that, and like you said, just keep them as markers, sufficient for the purposes of the religion.
Precisely. We're not trying to obfuscate people. We're just trying to get you to focus on the actual argument. That's all we're trying to do. Anyone that could fog a mirror when they read the argument and they listen to your rebuttal about the oil platforms suddenly realize that the oil platforms are not part of the argument. I don't know who you're trying to fool. Right? Because all I'm going to say is when you do that, I'm going to ask you to repeat the argument as you talk through me and talk over me. Right? That's going to be the end game. I'm going to have you repeat the argument and then point out the oil platforms. Because they're not in there. Anyone else? Arwin, any comment?
So that was Arwen's point, that all they want to do is obfuscate, and that's their purpose. Not to get to a rebuttal, but to take you on a merry dance that seems like they're addressing something when all they're doing is talking about something non-related like the oil platforms. And they are in your argument. If you were to add a little disclaimer, you'd have a little bracket and then it would say, as shown or as marked by the distance to these oil platforms, end brackets. In other words, clarify the fact that the only reason they're even there is to give us a distance to what they claim should be at 1.2 miles. And they're not, and it's behind them, and that's how we know how far it is. That's all they're useful for in the argument.
Arwin, any comment?
I think it's looping.
Yeah, it's looping back here. Thanks, Arwin. We got here. Where'd he go? Disappeared on me. Paul H. Any comments on this, sir?
I came in late, so I'm not sure what's going on, so I'll just stay quiet.
My mistake in asking you to open up your mic, sir. Betty, any admin or any thoughts on this?
No admin.
What?
And yeah, we have admin. No, yeah, oh yeah, there is admin. Sorry, there is admin. We got Alexander, and he gives you a red thumbs up. So that's something. Huh?
Hey, appreciate that, Alexander.
Yeah. And no, you have been over this for a long time, haven't you? So, I don't understand. You can see further away than it's even possible, according to the narrative that they have made. We can see further. The globe is done.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't get why they are just make it more difficult. Just get over it.
They have to make it more difficult, Elizabeth, because this is the death knell to their religion.
I know. Yeah, well, if you're in a cult, which they say that we are in, but if you're in a cult, then you have to make up for stories and things, and people are good at that, right? They make stories for one another so that they can obfuscate and still be in that cult. That's what they're doing.
The scary part is I think they convinced each other that they may have an argument, but let me give you a news flash. Baltards. Anyone that can fog a mirror can see through your little Mr. Magoo Elmer Fudd sophistries regarding this argument. I know it's hard to take, but it's a news flash. Everyone can see it. It's self-evident. So listen, I don't know. Continue doing it because it just makes you look like horses petunia. Okay?
It's all about the doubling down, QE. Come on.
Yeah.
It's all about like sticking to what has been said to you, no matter what is happening. It's just sticking to it. That's what it's become.
Yep. All right, let's roll. I'm going to go past that because you guys don't, not the panel members, but you people out there. I told you I was only going to state that once or twice. The thing I just passed up, not doing it again. So, potential debunks. BMLSB isn't 1 foot and there is land islands before the platforms. You don't hear the second one anymore. You might hear the first one, but I destroyed that in the collector's edition Or you can just go look for yourself. Like I said, the original, Bo's original video is in the description box of this video. So just roll on down there and that one's finished. Number 3, we don't or never see the geometric horizon. I went over that in the beginning. If you don't see it, it's not a horizon to begin with. And welcome to Flat Earth. Here is the current argument, actual argument. 4 and number 6 have a lot to do with each other, but this stands on its own. So the cranes on the oil platforms are distorted. This is the new argument now. Now, this is a regurgitated argument from maybe the 3rd or 4th day, but it's been coming to the fore over the past week as I've been listening. So what they're saying, folks, is, do you see this crane now? There's a couple other cranes that got little bendy crane refraction, as we talk about. We named it that, but we shouldn't have. So what they're talking about, this is the rebuttal to the Black Swan. The geometric horizon is pushed back 10 times further than it should be because the crane is distorted. I'm not joking. That is their argument. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. And I've heard some stupid stuff. But this is the argument. The horizon, the geometric horizon, is pushed back 10 times further than it should be because of the cranes distorted. You think I'm lying? I'm not. Let's move on because that's too stupid to even comment on. Number 5, Q is a straw man, and we don't believe that. That argument is dead because we pounded away at it. The Q part of this argument is attached by the lips to the radius. They didn't have a case here. That one fell by the wayside quickly. And the last one, refraction. And that's all they say. We're going to get to refraction here in a second, so I'm not going to go into it right now. So the geometric horizon, my argument is refracted. So whenever they say refraction, and that's all they will say because they don't know what it is, welcome to Flat Earth, like Nathan said earlier. This is the second argument that has come to the fore. The first one was bendy crane refraction. All right, listen, people. This photo is from BMLSB 69. It's a couple days removed or later from the original Black Swan photo. I've had this photo in this presentation ever since the beginning. This is a Black Swan. This is a Black Swan. Why? Well, Bo is at the same 1-foot elevation, and he's shooting these platforms again. Where is the horizon? Remember the argument now. I don't care what's happened behind here. Don't care. Blockage. Chinese Superman on the purple tutu refracted on a hobbled unicorn. I don't care. My argument is strictly the horizon. This is Platform Hill House. It is a little over 6 miles away. Where's the horizon at 1-foot elevation in this photo? Now, I can't be precise, obviously, because I don't have anything demarcating between me and this platform at 6.23 miles. But I can tell you what, it's pretty darn close to 6 miles away from me. Where should it be? Where should the geometric horizon should be? Where it must be. 1.22 miles away. That horizon is a lot further than 1.22 miles away, isn't it? This, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is a Black Swan. So keep on posting this in Discord to me, and I'll keep on saying it's a Black Swan. Thank you very much. Remember the argument. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Right? So what do you then say? Well, the horizon moved. Well, yeah, I never said it didn't. What's my actual argument? It can be no more than. This is my argument right here. Must be no more than 1.225. It's more than 1.225. This is a black swan. I hope that resonates with everyone. I don't know what I can do more to explain this to you. And of course, here we go. Refraction. We can kill this argument pretty quick. The reason why I go step by step through atmospheric refraction is because if new people are here and they're looking at this argument, that they understand it at a grassroots kind of level, right? Because I can, as soon as they say refraction, I can just dismiss it as a red herring fallacy. Because we're talking about geometric horizon. It has nothing to do with the atmospheric refraction. I'm going to show you that here. Okay? So, what do you hear if you're in the background and people are talking about the black swan? What do you hear? You'll hear somebody say, they'll come in and say one word. Refraction, like gravity. It's their one-word savior, right? When they don't even know what refraction is, they don't even specify what type. They just say, refraction, refravity. You should just combine the two words and make it simple. It'll save time. We can just deal with them one at a time. But refraction, well, okay. Is it prism refraction? Is it magnifying glass refraction? What kind of refraction is it? Refraction! So we finally get them to atmospheric refraction. And then my next question is, well, what type of atmospheric refraction is it? And I get the metaphorical deer in the headlights look, because all I hear is silence on the other end until the name calling starts. Right? Because they don't know what it is. We've known that they don't know what it is from the beginning in 2015. It's just now becoming, I've illuminated it. So, atmospheric refraction, let's check their alma mater wiki. Let's find out what it is. Atmospheric refraction, near the ground, produces mirages. Such refraction can also raise or lower, or stretch or shorten the images of distant objects without involving mirages. So, as you can see, there's 5 types of refraction. I didn't ask you what the causes of refraction were, did I? I said the 5 types of refraction. So, from their alma mater wiki again, via Andrew Thomas Young, the subject matter expert, is this little number 2 down here in this citation. While mirages are the best known atmospheric refraction phenomena, looming and similar refraction phenomena do not produce mirages. Mirages show an extra image or images of the mirage object, while looming, towering, stooping, and sinking do not. No inverted image is present in those phenomena either. In these phenomena, in these 4. Why? Because then it would make it a mirage. Depending on atmospheric conditions, the objects can appear to be elevated or lowered, stretched or stooped. These phenomena can occur together, changing the appearance of different parts of the objects in different ways. He's not talking about the horizon here. He's talking about objects in relation to it. Sometimes these phenomena can occur together with the true mirage. Okay, so let's count them again. Atmospheric refraction phenomena, what are the types? You have mirages, looming, number 2. So we got mirages, number 1, looming, number 2, towering, number 3, stooping, number 4, sinking, number 5. So there's 5 types of atmospheric refraction phenomena. Pretty simple, right? I didn't ask you what the causes were. You don't even know what refraction is. Let's not deal with the causes of refraction. I'm looking for the effects or the types of refraction that we find. So, now that we've identified what atmospheric refraction is and the types, and since you came in and your rebuttal to the black swan is refraction, guess what I'm going to do next? I'm going to take each of these types of refraction and context them with the Black Swan photo and see if it holds any water, right? Does that make sense? Does that logically follow for you? If it doesn't, you need to stop from central lining fluoride and move away from the power lines. So let's take each. Is the horizon mirage? Because that's my argument. Well, what's mirage? Let's find out again. Mirages show an extra image or images of the miraged object. Okay, is there an extra horizon in the Black Swan photo? Is there an extra horizon or horizon in this photo? No, there's only one. So it's not a mirage. Get it? Guess what we're going to do next? We're going to take 2 and 3 together because they're sort of related. Towering or stooping. So from Andrew Thomas Young again. Towering or stooping change the apparent shape of the object itself. With towering, objects appear stretched. With stooping, objects seem to be shortened. Okay. Is the horizon stretched or shortened in the Black Swan photo? Is this horizon stretched or shortened in this photo? Or are you just saying, QE, give me a break? That's sort of non sequitur. I have to ask these questions because whoever came in and said refraction, we have to go through each one. So we're comprehensive. So we're not obfuscating, right? That's a non sequitur for number 2 and 3. So 3 down, 2 to go. What's the next one? Sinking. From William Humphreys, Physics of the Air. Sinking is the opposite of looming. In sinking, stationary objects that are normally seen above the horizon, you see the juxtaposition or the comparison or the relation to. The objects are separate from the horizon. They're compared to it. That's very important. I'll start over. Sinking is the opposite of looming. In sinking, stationary objects that are normally seen above the horizon appear to be lowered or may even disappear below the horizon. In looming, guess what? The curvature of the rays, that don't exist, by the way, we're going to get to that, is increasing while sinking produces the opposite effect. So as you can see clearly, there are 2 principles here. 1, the object, 2, the horizon, and their relationship to each other. Okay, so is the horizon lowered or disappeared below the horizon in the Black Swan photo? Is the horizon lowered or disappeared below the horizon in this photo? Well, you say QE, that's non sequitur fallacy. That doesn't follow. You'd be correct. Right? 4 down, 1 to go. And you know which one it is. Right? Because it has to be looming. Has to be. So, again, from the Alma Mater Wiki. Looming is the most notable and most often observed of these refraction phenomena. It is abnormally large refraction of the object that increases the apparent elevation of the distant objects and sometimes allows an observer to see the objects that are located where? Below the horizon. We have another comparison. Remember, we just went over sinking, right? They were comparing the object with the horizon. Same thing that's going on here because these are sort of related in their fairy tale story. It's not talking about the horizon looming. Take a look at this. Andrew Thomas Young. Like I said, the subject matter expert, San Diego State University Astronomy Department. Looming. The appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. That's all I need. We'll get to the causes below. I haven't asked that question yet. Again, the appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. Do you see the juxtaposition here again? There's two. The horizon and the distant object, not just the horizon. So, is the horizon appearing above the horizon in the Black Swan photo? Is the horizon appearing above the horizon in this photo? Again, you say QE, that doesn't make any darn sense. It's a non sequitur fallacy. You'd be correct, right? Because it is. The horizon doesn't loom above the horizon. So what do we got here, folks? I just went through all 5 refraction phenomena. By the way, like I just said, the friggin' horizon doesn't ever loom, ever, ever, ever. Let's go through this one real quick. Now I'm going to stop there. Questions, comments?
Just a repetition. If it's looming or asserted to be in some way refracted, it's not geometric anymore. It's game over model as soon as you say it's not a geometric horizon, because it needs to be.
Thank you. Don't trip over yourselves to come into this.
Can only repeat what Nathan said. Fundamentally, which one do you want? Gonna hint it as that.
So you're saying, Adam, this is pretty cut and dry from your standpoint?
You can't have your cake and eat it, can you? So
the next part is going to be quite shocking. I would say to the Baltards, when we get to the next part that you call your therapist, you're going to need him or her. Tell you that right now.
That's that middle bit there where you've broken that down, which is the trying to have your cake and eat it section, where you've got past the oil rigs, but now we want to redefine terms, meanings, so that we can paint a reality where it could be possible by sadly having to bastardize terms and not take their true meaning or think them in a way that allows you to conjure this reality that you're still on the ball. It's kind of the next bit, isn't it, where the attack has happened, and that's the point, is to just define what the terms mean. That's what they try to redefine and then move on their point. So they're useful, those terms.
Well, that's what they have to do.
More,
go ahead, Adam. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Say, probably in a bit more detail, particularly with the looming, the stuff you did on looming. I think that's really useful. That's what they will try and do, and to demonstrate what you did with the Scottish golf one. That's the next point in there that you have to just them on track with. But oops.
Well, yeah, that's this. What you just said about they're redefining terms. This happens constantly, folks. This is why we use the Socratic method, because not only in this argument, but in many arguments, you're going to see the Baltards try to redefine terms. And it's painfully obvious. It even gets hilarious. But that's why we hold them to defining terms. It's called the Socratic method. And you're going to see it's going to blow up for them again, including Andrew Thomas Young, the subject matter expert. It's going to blow up in his face here. In the next section. All right, Arwen, any thoughts? Well, thanks for those thoughts, Arwen. Appreciate that. We got Hank Kill in here. Hey, Betty, can you go ahead and unmute Hank? See what he's up to. Catch him unawares and off guard.
I unmuted him.
You can thank me later, Hank. What's going on, man? That's what I thought. Yeah. I wouldn't say anything either. Hank is an old timer. Hank has been out here. He was out here before I was out here. I know that. And we had many interesting hangouts together. So I wanted to catch him up.
Yeah, you had one on your channels, right? You had there was some guys on that tried you on evolution, whatever that is.
Not only evolution, but the whole heliocentric. We ended up with evolution.
Yeah. The guy that said, right, freaking sentence. Right. Remember that?
Yeah. Good memories. Yeah. All right.
Good memories, yes.
All right. What do we got here? I'm looking down.
Maybe Neil has something to say.
Yeah,
probably.
Neil. Sorry about that, sir. I missed your name right there. Neil, go ahead. Anything before we get started on the last half of the presentation?
I muted him. But maybe he's at the Barbie. You never know. No, I think that they so mesmerized with what you were saying today that nobody's up to talk.
And that's fine. I can understand why everyone's so shy. I got it. Okay. All right, let's roll. We're going to roll, right? Because this is a pretty important... Oh, I'm sorry, Betty. I forgot. Any admin?
Nope, no admin.
Okay, let's roll.
About Paul.
Paul, every time he opens up his mic, it's like the apocalypse.
How about now?
Oh, but that's better.
I pulled over to the side of the road and turned my air off. So I would just say that's the biggest argument I've noticed, or the biggest thing I've seen within people I argue with, is the definitional issue. And if you try to define them what refraction is, or define whatever term they're using, that's where they start squirming. That's the only comment I was going to make. That's definitely true. Definitions they don't like.
Yes, sir. Yep, and it's the foundation of any argument. That's why they call it the Socratic method. You have to get in. You can't communicate with each other if you misdefine terms. If you're talking about apples and I'm thinking about orangutans, then we're going to be off the mark from the get-go. Makes sense? Yeah, but their savior, semantics. That's semantics. Yeah. And? And what? My word. They think it's a slight or something. I think they picked up that from the Evotards. Because I used to get that back in the day. That was a long time ago. Okay, let's continue on this. Because this is a very... Not that the other parts weren't important. But this is where we're going to sort of lift up the skirt. Lift up the underbelly. See the underbelly. Now I'm going to ask Andrew Thomas Young about the causes. I haven't asked just yet because all I wanted was the effects or the types. Now I'm going to ask what causes this looming nonsense. And he's going to tell us. Back to the definition of looming again, just for completeness. The appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. We already trained that part of the definition in context with the Black Swan photo because it's non sequitur to it. Now we're going to get to the causes of this. This effect, that is the looming effect, is caused by unusually large terrestrial refraction. Uh-oh. Usually due to a thermal inversion. Looming is the opposite of sinking. Both are refraction phenomena, but not mirages. Mic discipline, please. See the table of refraction phenomena, in the simulations. I don't really care about simulations. So, he said it's caused by terrestrial refraction. Well, what's that? Well, folks, this is a stone cold begging the question fallacy. Does light refract? Answer, yep. Is that the same that can be accounted for by terrestrial refraction? Answer, nope. Keyword, terrestrial. You see, terrestrial refraction already assumes a sphere. The calculations assume the radius of the Earth. From Andrew Thomas Young again, subject matter expert, San Diego State University. The atmosphere is also curved, we'll get back to that in a second, as it follows the shape of the Earth. In the calculations below, we'll adopt a rough value of 6,400 kilometers as the radius of curvature to make the calculation simple. Does everyone see the problem here? Professor, you're assuming the premise the atmosphere is curved, then by proxy Earth curvature, to prove the conclusion true. That is, terrestrial refraction is looming or too looming. That equals a textbook begging the question fallacy, circular banjo do-si-do. Got big problems here, folks. Or Andrew Thomas Young does, and you mindless parroters have huge problems. Right? The atmosphere is also curved. The atmosphere is made of gas. Gases have no inherent shape. So right from Jump Street, you know that this is nonsense. He just conjured it. Right? He needs to conjure it because the fairy tale Earth beneath it is curved, according to him, which he also conjured. This is a train wreck, folks. Not only fallacious, which renders his whole argument void to begin with, this is Elmer Fudd train wreck. Mr. Magoo's blushing at this. Now, I'm going to go to another, but we're going to come back to terrestrial refraction at the end for a very important point. But let's move on right here, because we're going to tear apart. I'm sticking on this looming for a reason. So, remember again, let me repeat the definition from the subject matter expert, Andrew Thomas Young, San Diego State University, Astronomy Department. Looming, the appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. Right? That is incorrect. That definition right there. Even within their argument, because we have to stay within their fairy tale to defeat their fairy tale. Even if we say this is correct, it's still not an explanation for the Black Swan. However, this definition in reality is incorrect. This is the correct definition. Looming is nothing more than an optical illusion produced by the sky, being inferior mirage underneath an object, giving the appearance of said objects floating above a false horizon. This is the correct definition of what looming is. It's brought to you by quantum eraser, Andrew Thomas Young's Huckleberry. Let's see which definition holds sway. This is the quintessential example of looming. If you haven't seen this photo, where you been? Right? What I used to say in the beginning was use off-center vision to see this. It's readily apparent to me every time I look at this. If you use off-center vision, you can see where the actual horizon is. Right? It's right across the bow. Anyone can see this. Mick West is going to help us here in a second, though. Right? So which definition holds true here? The sky is being inferior mirage underneath the object. Right? That's the case. Giving a false horizon and giving the illusion that this guy is floating above it. That's my definition. It's an optical illusion produced by the sky being inferior mirage underneath an object, giving the appearance of said objects floating above a false horizon. That's exactly what's going on here. Is Andrew Thomas Young's definition correct? The appearance above the horizon of the distant object that would normally be hidden below it? Nope. Let's go to Mick. He's going to help us out because every time we get in trouble, Mick West is here to come and save us. He's taken this photo himself and did a little color contrasting. He is correct. The reason why he did this is because the media was calling this photo a mirage, right? So Mick was correct in calling them out and saying, hey, that is incorrect. This is not a mirage. The real horizon is near here. It's the same place where I showed you, or where you can see up above, if you use off-center vision, where the actual horizon is. Right? This slam dunks it. Right? He even identifies the false horizon. But he gives the reason that you have the false horizon as due to fog. Well, that's a problem, because if this was a fog bank, Mick, you wouldn't actually see the boat. Duh. Right? Doesn't matter anyway. Doesn't matter anyway, folks. Right? This is showing that my definition of looming is actually correct. We'll go through a couple more. This is from 2014, the Scottish Open. Just pay attention over here to the left-hand side, or to the left photo. Right? You can see, it doesn't take off-center vision to see this horizon. I can see it right here. So can anyone. Now, if you take a look at the right photo, they contrasted this photo to bring it out even further. All right? This is a no-brainer. What's going on here? Is it Andrew Thomas Young's definition or Quantum Eraser's definition of the sky being inferior mirage underneath the object, giving an optical illusion of that object floating above a false horizon? That's exactly what's going on here. I couldn't be more precise. And a tribute to Betty and her raptured boats. This is one of my favorites, I'd have to say. Again, you don't need to use off-center vision with this photo either. Right? I can see, anyone can plainly see where the horizon is. Right in the middle right here. Right? You got the sky being inferior miraged underneath the objects. You can even see the collage of clouds being reflected here. Right? They're being inferior mirage underneath these objects, giving optical illusion of the objects floating above a false horizon. Right here. Here's the false horizon. You can tell it's false because it's fragmented. This one's a no-brainer, folks. So in the end, who's correct? Andrew Thomas Young or Quantum Eraser Andrew Thomas Young's Huckleberry? I'll leave that for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Questions, comments here, because this is important.
Well, firstly, you're correct, because their definition doesn't make any sense. But secondly, I think you said this already, it's not really that relevant to the argument either. You know, you can't have terrestrial refraction 7/6R without R. And R gives you a geometric horizon, as we covered at the start of this presentation. So, you know, it's just flamethrowers at the end of every single hallway with this argument. And the fact they want to claim refraction, and you, rightly so, go through what it isn't when they claim the horizons move with respect to the horizon, it's completely non sequitur. And it's good that you point that out, just so that people don't realize, if people don't realize that this is a dead end for them as a rebuttal, then now they will. But ultimately speaking, it still doesn't speak to the argument without them utilizing a begging the question fallacy, which is terrestrial refraction. And they need R for 7/6R. They don't have it, we've debunked it. So it's just another circle jerk, round and round they go, assuming their outcome.
Oh, you haven't seen a circle jerk yet. You're going to see one here in most Ricky Tick. Adam, sir.
Ian, I mean, two things. I suppose fundamentally it shows what level of opposition callers will go to explain how they'll conjure up narratives and mathematics to support that. And simple, really. If you look at it, you know, with a non-biased eye, it would be hard to try and build a reality for that. If you presuppose the ball, it's very difficult to take that first definition. And secondly, on to that, you know, we see a lot of the ballers talk about retracing and all these kind of mathematical, but as I've seen a few demonstrations of this or observations that have been made. And John D. Core over Balaton, and recently John J. Tolomedia has done. And all of this, all the observational data seems to point that if anything, he's like bending up. So even the data, if you was to collect it, didn't support the narratives that they require. So the kind of the observational data in terms of how the light's behaving over these distances that we have gathered is contrary. It's the complete opposite. The light's, if it's moving in any way due to refraction, moving up, not down, and down is the necessary function of it doing a curve.
That's correct, but I can explain why they do that. It's a bait and switch. There's two suitcases in play. They've convinced you, or not you, metaphorically you, the royal you, that what they're talking about is correct and detailed, and they've got explanations that they can quantify, albeit on a flat plane when they actually measure this stuff. Andrew Thomas Young's measurements for refraction are all done on a flat plane. That aside, they can then talk to you, as though they know what they're talking about with refraction, because they'll detail actual atmospheric effects. At some point, they'll then cause a little commotion, snap that briefcase closed, and switch it out for a different briefcase that's got 7/6R inside it. Now, the fact that it bends down when it should bend up, or bends up when it should bend down, is kind of irrelevant because that's in a different suitcase. You're looking at the 7/6R suitcase when they actually refer back to their refraction, which is terrestrial, otherwise known as standard refraction, i.e. 7/6R. And like you say, when you actually compare any atmospheric effects to 7/6R, it's completely non-relevant. Their terrestrial refraction's a geometric base, and it has R at its heart, not atmospheric conditions at its heart. So yeah, there is, and I'm not saying you're wrong. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, it should be, you know, this whole bending down at the rate that the R value gives them is nonsense compared to the actual effects. But like I say, that's in a different suitcase that have long since snapped shut when they're talking about atmospheric terrestrial refraction.
Betty, any thoughts? Any admin before we continue?
No thoughts, but and also no admin.
What?
It's kind of slow in the chat. Yeah, it's kind of slow in the chat. Maybe people have to sort of see that you're back. But there's 94 people in the chat watching, so it's good.
Outstanding. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're gonna roll.
What?
We got to spend a little bit of time on this horizon issue again that we started out with because there's some confusion here. Let's go through it. All these citations are from National Geographic unless I identify otherwise. So let's go again. We've heard this one before. The local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, is the visible boundary between the earth and sky. So local horizon is the geometrical horizon. It's visible. We should be able to see it. And it's in their model. You know, that reification fallacy that we talked about before. Okay. So we're going to go with another horizon, the geographic horizon. Well, that is the apparent boundary between the earth and sky. Huh. Well, the apparent boundary between the earth and sky is the visible boundary between the earth and sky, which is the local horizon, which is the geometrical horizon. So essentially, the geographic horizon is actually the geometric horizon. This is just an equivocation fallacy right here. I don't know what they're trying to do. They're gonna pile on here. The sea level horizon is the geographic horizon at sea level. Well, folks, if the sea level horizon is the geographic horizon, and the geographic horizon is the geometrical horizon, then the sea level horizon is the geometrical horizon. See how I did that? It follows logically. Real easy. Oh, number 4. From National Geographic, the astronomical horizon is the imaginary horizontal plane always. Whoa, 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 whoa. Imaginary? I'm sorry. We work at the really is level here.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you just read the rest of that definition anyway, just because it's relevant when we get to Al-Biruni?
Sure. The astronomical horizon is the imaginary horizontal plane, always at a 90-degree angle from the observer's zenith, the point directly above the observer. Astronomical horizons are great circles that surround the observer. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Since it's imaginary and we work at the really is level here, let's find out what the really is astronomical horizon is from Britannica.com. Horizon in astronomy, the boundary where the sky seems to meet the ground or sea. That's the geometric horizon, folks. Is the visible boundary between the earth and sky. So, I don't know. Here we go again. The true horizon is the imaginary plane that passes through. Here we go again. Imaginary. We got a problem because we work at the really is level here. We don't do imagination. Not happening. We can come back to these definitions at the end if we'd like. I'd like to continue, though, because hopefully everyone could see this, that the geographic horizon is the geometrical horizon. The sea level horizon is the geometrical horizon, by definition. And we got some imaginations going on with the astronomical horizon, with National Geographic, and National Geographic again with the true horizon. But the astronomical horizon, according to Britannica, is also the geometrical horizon. Hopefully that's clear. This came out pretty quickly when the Black Swan came out, probably a day or two after. There's still, I hear some rumblings of this. In fact, most of the arguments actually boil down to this, that this is the apparent horizon, and this is the geometric horizon up here. So, I don't know. Like I said, the local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, is the visible boundary between the earth and sky. This isn't the visible boundary between the earth and sky, folks. This, where this blue line here is apparent, that's the geometric horizon. And by the way, newsflash, the geometric horizon is apparent. You can have a potpourri if you'd like, anywhere you want it to be with the horizon. The astronomical horizon, the apparent horizon, artificial horizon, horizon to be named later. The geometric horizon, you got all kind of horizons, zebra horizons, you name it, they're out there somewhere. I'm sure somebody's selling them. I don't know if you're going to buy them. Ray tracing, quickly, from Andrew Thomas Young. If you haven't heard this term before, you will. Some people have worried about how to apply the refraction law to such a horizontal ray of light, because it does not cross any horizontal boundaries between denser and less dense air in a stratified atmosphere. Unbelievable. In general, the curvature of the ray is different from the curvature of the Earth's surface, but here we are only concerned with rays that bend just enough to follow the curve of the Earth. The simplest solution to the horizontal ray paradox. Somebody needs to look up the word paradox. Horizontal ray paradox is to remind ourselves that rays are an unrealistic mental construct. In reality, we always have a beam of light. Infinitely narrow rays don't really exist. But if you go through Andrew Thomas Young's material, you're going to see rays everywhere. But they don't really exist. You tell me. And here is our favorite Al-Biruni, Booby. He became famous earlier this week, and I'd just like to share that with everyone. Let's have a listen. 4 June 2020. Gem Panda, Mr. Bird's Humping Natural Experiment, and Knowledge is Special Belief. Now, with his current thesis defense,
Nobody has ever determined the shape or size of the Earth by making an observation of the horizon. We've never done that. We've never, ever, ever, ever done that.
what in the world? Absolutely priceless. Ladies and gentlemen, this bozo's been out here for 5 years defending the disheveled, ball-tard spinning space monkey religion and doesn't even know where or how his fairy tale radius came to be. You can't make this shit up, folks. Like I always say, just let them open up their incoherent pie holes and they'll do your work for you.
Nathan is telling you that because of the Black Swan, we can't know the radius of the Earth, when we have never, ever, ever determined the radius of the Earth by measuring the distance to the horizon. Never, never, no one has ever done that ever in the history of humanity.
Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni.
Established where?
Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni.
Show where that's established.
Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni.
You're not talking about a water level. You're talking about measuring the radius of the Earth by looking at the horizon. Show where that is established in any way.
Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni.
I think
It was never, ever, ever, ever determined by observing the horizon.
Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni.
There you have it, folks. Al-Biruni. Biruni, 973 to 1048, developed a new method using trigonometric calculations to compute the Earth's radius and circumference based on the angle between the horizontal line and true horizon from a mountaintop with known height. He calculated the height of the mountain by going to 2 points at sea level with a known distance apart and then measuring the angle between the plane and the top of the mountain for both points. Biruni's estimate of 6,339.9 kilometers for the Earth's radius had an error of 0.0026 and was 16.8 kilometers less than the current value of 6,356.7 kilometers. The idea came to him when he was atop of a tall mountain near Nandana in India. He measured the dip angle using an astrolabe and he applied the law of sines formula. He also made use of algebra in his calculations. So, Al-Biruni did there, Gem Panda. Unbelievable. So, A is the highest point of the mountain. There's A right there for you. B is the lowest point of the mountain. B right there for you. C, we won't get there. We got to do H first. H is the height of the mountain right here. And C, the lowest point of the true horizon visible from point A. We got some big problems here, folks. The biggest problem is if you say in the Black Swan that horizon is refracted, then what you also have to say with Al-Biruni is the horizon at sea that he was looking at was also refracted. So the question then becomes, if he computed the Earth's radius, is how he got a geometric radius of the Earth from a refracted horizon. That, as they say, folks, history. Because it pummels the entire refracted horizon argument into the incoherent oblivion. I'm going to give you one last one. We're going to finish it up with this. This is a bone I'm going to throw to Nathan. Let's take a look at this. And I spoke to this earlier because everyone was talking about the circle jerk with the refracted horizon. This isn't a circle jerk, folks. This is a whole other animal. Let's take a look at this. From Andrew Thomas Young, San Diego State University, Astronomy Department. the dip, including refraction. So far, we have ignored refraction and drawn the line of sight to the apparent horizon as the straight line O through G. But in the real world, there is some terrestrial refraction between the observer and the horizon. Pay attention, Nathan. The line of sight to the apparent horizon is not straight, but curved. So let's try to allow for that curvature. Well, folks, number one, apparent horizon is painfully redundant, as we've been over a couple thousand times. Number two, begging the question fallacy. We've seen this one before. Terrestrial refraction that he noted here. Remember, does light refract? Answer, yep. Is that the same that can be accounted for by terrestrial refraction? Answer, nope. Because the key word's terrestrial. You see, terrestrial refraction already assumes a sphere, Andrew. The calculations assume the radius of the Earth. From Andrew Thomas Young again. The atmosphere is also curved as it follows the shape of the Earth. In the calculations below, we'll adopt a rough value of 6,400 kilometers. He increased this, didn't he? Yeah, he did. I digress. As the radius of curvature to make the calculation simple. So again, you're assuming the premise, atmosphere is curved, which is a tear-jerking belly laugher. Then by proxy, Earth curvature to prove the conclusion true. Curved line to the horizon. That's a textbook begging the question fallacy, circular banjo, do-si-do. But it's a lot worse than that, folks. A lot worse. In conclusion, you cannot invoke terrestrial refraction, which at its foundational base has R, ascertained by Booby just above, Al-Biruni, who based his calculations on a non-refracted horizon to calculate the geometric radius of the Earth, to explain a line of sight to the apparent horizon that is not straight but curved, i.e. refracted horizon, using that frigging R. Because this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, isn't just your average circle jerk. It instantly becomes the colossal, convoluted, circumdicular, crossway breezing crackhead, circuitous crankshaft of the cycloidal psychotic centillium. This is absolute nonsensical circle jerking buffoonery. I'm going to leave this up here for a couple minutes because if you didn't catch this, you need to go through it step by step and identify where all the circle jerks are. Questions, comments?
Yeah, I want to point out the first part of the magic trick by Andrew Thomas Young. So before I do, what's sight? Not rhetorical. What's sight?
Well, sight is observation.
And what is a line of sight?
Line of sight is a straight line to the object.
So seeing an object with a straight line, correct?
Yes.
Can you read out his first passage about the horizon that we do not see, please?
Are you speaking about this one in conclusion? Or are you talking about his original dip, including refraction? You want me to read that again?
Yeah, the one about dip, his first statement is about, he starts off by saying, we haven't accounted for refraction.
Yes, I'll read that again to make sure everyone's clear. Sure. So, Andrew Thomas Young, dip including refraction. So far, we have ignored refraction and drawn the line of sight to the apparent horizon as the straight line, OG.
So stop, that's all I need.
Yeah, I figured you did.
So, yeah, that's all I need. So far, we've drawn a line of sight to some... What it's declaring.
Yes, sir.
So we don't have, as declared by Andrew Thomas Young, a line of sight. Described it as a line of sight, but he's going to simultaneously declare that we don't have this. So he's inventing a second position with line of sight, something we do not see. That's the magic trick. The thing he's drawing a line of sight and that we do not see is the geometric physical sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve. That's what he's drawing a line of sight to and telling you we don't see it because we don't have a geometric horizon.
Yes, sir. He contradicts himself within the very statement. The line of sight to the apparent horizon is not straight, but curved. That's nonsensical. Just within the boundaries of that statement right there. Yep. This is the tear-jerking belly laugher, folks. I'm telling you. Wait till you go through that. You might have to write it down. You can't do this. This is circle jerk on circle jerk. It's exponential circle jerks. That's it. It's over. Adam.
We go back in time a little bit. Didn't we cut all this kind of crap off at the knees well before that? Because as Nathan says, what we've got here is an image. An image encompasses a lot of things. Perspective in one of them, and we've got here is fundamentally with Uncle Bobby an application of image to be then applied into an orthographic section or Muppet vision. That's his first issue. Whatever lens or anything he's using, his first assumption is that he can instantly translate that into an orthographic view, the horizon or whatever. There's no accountment for perspective.
Good point.
This is a good example, Nev, really, of how we debunk it, move that point, but again, they're arguing past the fundamental.
Just to boil this down for the audience's benefit, if Al-Biruni's, I don't know what's on screen, hopefully Al-Biruni's diagram's on screen. Al-Biruni's describing something that he sees from atop a great mountain. But what is actually depicted, or the representation, the graphical representation of what is being described, shows the side of Al-Biruni's head in the shot. Well, what he's seeing does not include this. What Adam's describing as orthographic view, I describe as Muppet vision, because you can see the side of your own head. And you'll never, ever experience this 90-degree adjacent view to your own head when you observe things. But that's how the mathematics works, and that's how the dip angle calculations worked. And that, like the calculator itself, excludes all aspects of perspective by turning your side onto the view that you actually have, i.e. orthographic view. So yeah, Adam's absolutely spot on. Good point.
Let's go through everyone on the panel. Betty, Elizabeth, are you still with me out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
I got 2 super chats.
Oh.
That's what I got.
No, go ahead. Any admin? You could do admin right now. That's fine.
Yeah, shall I do that now?
Yes.
Before I forget.
Yes.
I got Flat Earth Travolta again. He says plums are parallel to circumdicular straight lines, can be curved as gas falls mostly down, go boom boom. Go splash splash. But
staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
Oh God.
Flat Earth.
Another one from Alexander, and he says, I would like to buy Geometric Horizon. Does anybody have it for sale, and how much does it cost?
Nathan, sir.
No, Yeah, you can buy any horizon except a geometric horizon. He knows that. He knows that's the case.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate that. Is that all for the admin, Betty?
Yeah, for now, yeah.
We can go through the panel here if they have any coherent. I see a couple ballers in here, and I like that. I need you to be concise and coherent. Okay? First, Arwen. Arwen, any thoughts, comments? Thank you, Arwen. Chaiki.
I am muted, Chaiki.
Thank you. Well, I don't know what this is all about, so.
This is about the death of the spinning ball-tard space monkey religion.
Head pulse, last I checked.
Is it still alive the last time you checked?
Yep.
You better check its pulse again. Thank you, Chaiki. Appreciate it. George.
Hey.
Comments, questions, sir?
Yes, indeed. If you could put back on screen the Al-Biruni side view.
Done.
The Black Swan observation is the line between B and C. Straight
Correct.
line, no curve. Actually, it's longer than that. It goes further than 10 miles away. So if we straight that line between B and C, you have a perfect 90-degree angle. That to me says that it's absolutely flat.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Is that all?
Pleasure. That's all.
John Shelton, sir. Thank you, sir. Neil.
Gotta come back to me. I'm in a situation here.
You got a situation. Yeah, I got you, man. I got one too. Somebody's up on top of my roof working on my roof during this, man. It's really cool. I thought it was like a family of woodpeckers, facultative anaerobe woodpeckers pounding on it up there. But yeah, really good. I got you.
So they do exist.
Facultative anaerobe woodpeckers. As far as you know.
Well, you got them on your roof.
All right, let's wrap it up. I think we've demolished this. You know, it's beyond. They can't recover from this. They try. You know, they're cute when they're that age. I like all the arguments. I just like the flat earthers when they're in the vicinity of this argument to remember actual argument. Go ahead, Arwen.
Maybe I can speak for Chaiki for a second since he's on forced mute, and that is that you don't have a horizon on a flat Earth.
Oh, brother. Please no. All right. All right. This is the really important part for the flat earthers out there. I wanted to stress this. I stressed it in the beginning. If you're in the vicinity of this argument, don't be dumbfounded when people say, well, the horizon's not fixed. Look, it's changing. This picture has it here. This one has it here. Don't get confused. Remember the argument. Run home to mama. Because every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. No more than. I never, ever, ever claimed that it was fixed. Like discipline, please. I never claimed that. Never will claim it because it's preposterous. The point of the argument is that the measurement must be no more than. I think I stressed that enough today. Let's see how this goes over the next week because I don't know if it's going to go all that well. I'll probably get the same. I just have to keep doing it and doing it. Not a problem.
I like Owen's point there, John, because it again puts them back to having their cake and eating it, because their argument is wouldn't be a horizon on a flat earth, it'd go on ever. I.e.,
Right.
there isn't
Right.
a point
Based on
where there isn't a point where the sky meets the earth, because the point of the sky meeting the earth is created by the geometry of a ball, which again negates it to be a physical solid edge. That's their argument there. There wouldn't be a horizon on the flat plane because there is no point of intersection there. It goes on forever, which is obviously nonsense, but that argument itself pins them back to a solid geometric horizon.
Yes.
right.
Yep.
And he actually got to arguing that his lead to that reasoning is that there is a concealment rate happening after a certain point. Things are obstructed bottoms up, and he reasons out that because the Earth is a globe, that's the only cause for that effect to happen. So on a flat Earth, that wouldn't happen, and as a side result, you wouldn't have a horizon. It's quite surreal, really, the weird little model they've constructed for themselves as to what flat Earth's supposed to be like.
Well, I'd like to see validation of that claim. I would like them to show us how there would be no horizon on a flat Earth. I want to see that. Thanks.
That's what they're left with, isn't it, though, John?
Yes.
As we're seeing in chat and stuff, is constructing straw man arguments for us to attack. Like, I think what we're seeing tonight is the dome from I don't know who. But that's what they're left with now, because the argument is so solid. It's not rebuttable. I see. Methods. So you can either do what you've gone through or what we're seeing now, which is build straw mans against apparently stuff that we definitely believe. Build a model for them to attack. Last throws.
Yeah, those are the death throws. It was so hilarious when I posted. I'm not going to go over that silly little argument that they have. It appears, folks, this isn't against the Black Swan, but there's another argument out there, and I think Unorthodox posted it has something to do with Gay-Lussac's law. It's absolutely ridiculous. We'll be dealing with it at some point. We dealt with it a little bit during Nathan's shows during the week, but it appears that since I released the Modus Tollens, that they come up with their own Modus Tollens against freaking gas pressure without a container. I can't believe it. It's like giving a chainsaw to a 3-month-old. I mean, it is truly hilarious.
They try.
Well, they're throwing hay at the burning hay pile, basically. They're throwing straw men at the burning hay pile, effectively.
Well, we may do it. I may go over it just for shits and giggles on Ballbusters this coming week, which will be, before I forget, and I would have forgot it before we left, will be a certain professor from the University of Michigan, a Harvard alum, that decided to use my name in one of his research papers. So we're going to be going now over that little train wreck this Saturday on Ballbusters. Stay tuned for this. So thanks for reminding me of that. Adam.
Your real name.
Again?
I think Betty was about to speak, so.
Again, go ahead, Betty.
Your real name or your channel name?
He used both. I wasn't the only one mentioned in the article. I can't speak for those other people. But I'm going to take care of where I was mentioned and in what context I was mentioned in. He's
Okay.
already been contacted. Mic discipline, please. He's already been contacted. I had advice from my staff that I should not contact him directly because I may be a little bit too heavy on the hand. So I had a third party liaison contact him to say, hey, we're kind of interested in rebutting that rag that I would have said, but he didn't put it that way. And he declined. So I'm going to have to take you to the woodshed without you here, Professor, because I do professors' actual PhDs pro bono, if you haven't heard. And I especially like the ones from Harvard. Can't wait.
Why? Why do you like the ones from Harvard?
Well, they go well with a bit of fava beans and a bit of Chianti.
Okay. Well, we got another super chat from Rakia Live. He says, my favorite type of fishing is catfishing when it comes to academics being dishonest.
Yes, sir, Dave. Yep, that's the catfish. I gave him ample opportunity, and I stayed out of it as I was advised, and it still didn't happen. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. You're going to see what the problems are when I pull it up next week. They're blatantly obvious. Thanks a lot, Dave. Appreciate that, sir.
I think
All
Hannibal
right.
Lecter liked to eat rude people. Called them free-range rude.
They're free range. I like it. Yeah. I got you.
Quick shout out. So there's a flat Earth debate starting. The one that's going out now is only a quarter of an hour long. Then the 2.5 hour long one that goes out straight after. But the one I'm plugging in the chat is running now. So once this show finishes, hop over to Nathan Oakley channel. There is a link in the chat box.
You anticipated because I wanted to get last and final thoughts from Adam first and then have you take us home. Adam, final thoughts, just overall views.
You alluded at the end there. The thing that's come out, the #1 dome killer, and I won't dissect that because it's laughable. It is quite interesting. They've obviously tried very hard and well done. Missed the point about Black Swan. They've missed the nailing down. You have to have the agreement on the side you're trying to disprove the P's and Q's. And then you also have to use some kind of relevant, and I'm not sure what the game is, as how this is applicable dynamic system. But I'll leave that with him. But for me, fundamentally, it just shows what a battering that Swan gives them as they attempt it.
I know. I seen you laughing when you first seen it. I seen your comment in there. You're so right. It's really funny. Like I said, just be prepared. It depends. Yeah, even if they don't bring it out officially, I will go over it on Ballbusters before we get to Professor Boyd. Okay, so just keep that in the hopper back there, in the back pocket, Adam. Nathan, sir. Nathan, sir. Take us home.
Am I rounding out?
Yes, you are.
Okay. We only have one horizon. The horizon in the globe Earth reification model is geometric. If the horizon is refracted, it's not geometric, and we only have one horizon. To beg the question of an R value when asserting terrestrial refraction also requires the very R value your geometric horizon is based upon. So you don't have an R value, you don't have a geometric horizon, you don't have a tangent, your globe model's dead. Be here or be sphere for flat Earth debate starting now over on Nathan Oakley channel. That's Nathan Oakley channel. Be here or be sphere. Thank you very much indeed for having me, Quantum Eraser. It's been an epic show. Black Swan now 6 months old. Nobody's debunking this. It is indebunkable, or undebunkable, I should say.
Thank you, sir.
Half-year anniversary. Who?
Happy anniversary. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Betty, last call.
No admin.
Thank
Nothing
you.
to add.
Thank you. Any final thoughts?
On the Black Swan. Otherwise, they would think that I'm an empty head, right? So I have Absolutely. But I have none to add to this argument. Like Nathan said, it's heavier, old now, and undebunkable. That's it.
Just waiting for the Ballers to construct some kind of Black Swan of Troy. You know, it's such a profound creature. It's so predominant. It's only a matter of time before they start to, graft it into some kind of Horse of Troy situation.
Doesn't matter, Arwen. They built the Swan in the first place. Built it. It's theirs. As much as they want to try and pin fake on us, this is theirs.
You're making it way too complex for them.
All right, guys. Hey, appreciate you coming. Thanks for all the guests. And mostly for you guys out there, I hope this helps. We'll be going over and over and over it again through the coming weeks, months, and years, because it ain't going away. So take no prisoners. No quarter will be asked. None shall be given. And remember, I'll be back.